Okay, let's talk about the toys possibly being spring-lock suits. This is an idea I'm not fully confident in, but for the sake of this video, I will entertain the idea. So without further ado, I guess let's just get into it, right? So the biggest piece of evidence, probably by like a long shot, is the movies. Now, I'm very conflicted with movie clues because I feel like the movies contradict certain things in the games, but for the sake of this video, let's just point out the very obvious fact that Toy Chica is a spring-lock suit, which in turn probably implies that the other toys are spring-lock suits. So, yeah. It's a detail that's very weird. I don't really understand the change on Scott's end. My current idea is maybe FNAF 2 is meant to act as like the Fredbears of the movie universe, but I'm getting sidetracked. Anyways, it's a weird addition to the movie. And so what if Scott was trying to tell us that the toys are also spring-lock suits in the games? During a YouTube stream, Scott Cawthon has this to say about the Endo 02. Nobody seemed to solve the story of the Endo 02. So let's interpret this as Scott saying the hidden lore of the Endo 02 is that they're spring-lock suits. Now, there's a lot more to talk about, not just with the movie, but there's also other details in the games that could, lead you to the idea that the toys could be spring-lock suits. Now, one of the biggest things that, can debunk the idea of the toys being spring-lock suits is the FNAF 3 phone calls talking about, the spring-lock suits being discontinued around the MCI. However, there's a very specific detail in this phone call that, doesn't outright confirm this as a possibility. Hello. There's been a slight change of company policy concerning use of the suits. Don't. After learning of an unfortunate incident at the sister location involving multiple and simultaneous spring-lock failures, the company has deemed the suits temporarily unfit for employees. Temporarily? It's a very interesting choice of words. Not permanently, but temporarily. So the possibility that spring-lock suits were continued later on is not out of the window. Alright, so the idea of the spring-lock suits still being a thing in 87 is, possible, right? So now this leads into my next part of the video. Toy Chica high school years. People have, debated about what the kills are meant to be, but, the biggest trend that everyone can agree on is that Toy Chica is William Afton. Anyways, what if this minigame is depicting the DCI, or the kids who die and save them? Now, I've seen a lot of people say that this is actually about the MCI, which includes Andrew, and Ultimate Custom Night is all about Andrew, but stay with me, right? For the sake of this video, what if the DCI is represented via Toy Chica high school years? What can we get from this information? So, Toy Chica targets 6 characters, and you might be quick to say that DCI only has 5. Well, there is, an extra blood splatter in Save Them. And that could possibly be, relating to an extra victim. And I think the blood splatter is under the desk, like how JJ hides under the desk. And so I've seen people say that the extra kid possesses JJ. But we don't see the 6th body, just that 6th blood splatter, which is very interesting. But for the sake of this, I'm going to assume that represents another death, right? So, Toy Chica high school years depicts the DCI. What does that have to do with the toys being spring-locks? Well, you know how I said William is Toy Chica? Let's take that a little bit more literally. What if, right, it's going to sound genuinely insane, what if William Afton used the Toy Chica animatronic spring-lock suit to kill the DCI? It sounds ridiculous, but just let me give you the evidence and the stuff I have, because I'm looking into these details and they're so weird. So please just hear me out, right? You gotta hear me out, okay? So in the movies, Toy Chica is given a lot of importance, which points to the idea that Why is Toy Chica so important? Why was her spring-like functions, shown off way more? Why not Toy Bonnie's, spring-like functions? Why not Toy Freddy's spring-like functions, right? Now, I'm going to read to you the FNAF 2, is it night 6? It's night 6 or night 5, the phone call. I'm going to read it to you. And I want you to just really listen to it, okay? Someone used one of the suits, a yellow one. Someone used it, and now none of them are acting right. A yellow suit, huh? I don't think I need to elaborate on this. This is meant to be Toy Chica, who is obviously yellow. Now, there is one giant hole in this theory that completely destroys it all. And again, this video was just a thought experiment. I do not believe this theory, but there is one detail that I left out for the night 6 phone call. Someone used one of the suits. We had a spare in the back, a yellow one, and now none of them are acting right. He talks about it being a spare in the back, and I left that out just to make you think, but when you include the, a spare in the back, it kind of just falls apart. There's so many weird connections that makes you want to think that the toys are spring-lock suits, and the idea that maybe William used Toy Chica to kill the DCI, but it falls apart with the detail of it being a spare in the back. So, more than likely, it's Golden Freddy. Maybe Spring Bonnie, but probably Golden Freddy. But it's interesting, right? These details, they're very weird, and they all, sort of line up. But they kind of fall apart when you get to that little detail. This was a fun little thought experiment. I just wanted to propose to you. If you guys want to try to argue about, like, a different way to interpret the spare, by all means, I would love to hear your guys' interpretation. I think it's an interesting concept, but I personally think it falls apart. But by all means, I'd love to hear you guys' explanation if you think Toy Chica could have actually been used for the DCI. Well, that's the video. I don't really know how to do these intros, but I guess comment what you think, comment what you thought of the theory. I hit that bell, subscribe. Hit that like. I think I said all that already, but bye, I guess. Have a good day or night, wherever you're at.